Managing a hotel wasn't just a job for me, it was my life. Every detail, every guest, every moment mattered. I'm Grace, and this hotel was my world. It was more than just a building. It was a place filled with stories, laughter, and sometimes unexpected encounters. One evening, as I was finalizing some paperwork at the front desk, he walked in. He was impossible to miss. A young man in a tailored suit that screamed money, his attention glued to an expensive phone. He carried himself with confidence, the kind that made people take notice. As he approached the reception desk, he looked up, flashing a smile so effortlessly charming that it could knock you off your feet. "Good evening, I'm Ethan," he introduced himself, his voice smooth as silk. "I'll be staying for a couple of nights. Anything interesting happening around here?" For a moment, I found myself caught off guard. His presence had an undeniable pull, and despite my usual professionalism, I felt an unexpected warmth in my smile. "Well, Ethan, the city's full of surprises," I replied, handing him his key. "Depends on what you're looking for." Our exchange was brief, but something about it lingered. Maybe it was his curiosity or the way he seemed genuinely interested when I spoke. Ethan didn't stay long, but when he checked out, he left something behind, a small folded note. Curious, I unfolded it. The message was simple but intriguing. "Enjoyed our talk. Care to continue it over dinner?" I hesitated, unused to mixing my personal life with work. But something about him intrigued me, something I couldn't quite explain. After a moment of deliberation, I decided to take a chance. That evening, we met at a local restaurant, a cozy, intimate place where the chatter and clinking glasses created a lively yet warm atmosphere. The kind of place where time seemed to slow down. "You really have this place dialed in, don't you, Grace?" Ethan said with a knowing smile as we sat down. I laughed, feeling oddly at ease with him. "I guess you could say I've had some practice." Dinner flew by in a blur of conversation and laughter. He was an open book, or so it seemed, sharing tales of his travels, adventures in different countries, and the people he had met along the way. He had an effortless charm, the kind that made you want to listen just a little longer, to learn just a little more. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something different. A spark. A shift in the way I saw things. Little did I know, this was just the beginning. As our conversation drifted away from investments and business talk, it took a more personal turn. When Ethan asked about me, I found myself opening up more than I usually would. There was something about him, his presence, his attention, that made it easy to talk. I told him about losing my parents, about how it had been just Mia and me against the world since I was 21. "That's a heavy load to carry, Grace," he said, his voice softer now, his eyes reflecting something I couldn't quite place. Admiration, maybe? Or something deeper. "You must be incredibly strong." I shrugged, brushing off the compliment. "We all play the hand we're dealt, right? Mia has always been my priority. Our parents left us a little something, and I've been careful with it, made it grow bit by bit." He nodded, his expression turning thoughtful. "That's impressive. You've got a good head on your shoulders." As the night wore on, I realized something. I hadn't laughed this much in a long time. He had a way of making me forget the weight of responsibility I had carried for years. But when I tried to turn the conversation toward him, to learn more about his family, he skillfully redirected the discussion. "My folks and I don't see eye to eye," he admitted, a shadow crossing his face. "Let's just say they have their ideas about life, and I have mine." I didn't press further. We all had our stories, our scars. And somehow, in that moment, it felt like Ethan and I understood each other in ways words couldn't express. My life with Ethan felt like a whirlwind, each day a new adventure, each moment spent together filled with laughter and dreams of the future. He had this way of making the ordinary seem extraordinary, of turning simple dinners into unforgettable evenings. A walk through the city streets felt like an escape to another world. A quiet night and became a story worth telling. One evening, as we sat in our favorite little cafe, the one with the dim lights and cozy corners, I couldn't help but voice my thoughts. "Ethan, I still can't believe how fast everything is moving," I said, stirring my coffee, my fingers absent-mindedly tracing the rim of the cup. He reached across the table, taking my hand in his. His touch was warm, reassuring. Grace, when something feels right, why wait? His gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. I've never been sure of anything in my life. I exhaled slowly, my heart battling between excitement and fear. I know, it's just, everything's happening so fast. It's a lot to take in. He squeezed my hand gently. I get it. But trust me, Grace, I'm here for the long haul. I want to build a life with you, a future. And I want to start by making our wedding day the most memorable day of our lives. The way he spoke about our wedding, with such passion, such certainty, it was impossible not to get caught up in his vision. Ethan painted a picture of a wedding so lavish, so breathtaking, that it felt almost surreal. Imagine it, Grace, he said, his voice filled with excitement. A ceremony that no one will ever forget. A celebration of our love. A night filled with magic. I could see it in my mind. Twinkling lights, elegant decor. A moment that felt like it had been pulled from the pages of a fairy tale. And the honeymoon? I asked, a mix of curiosity and apprehension in my voice. You mentioned something about the most expensive hotel in the world. Ethan's smile widened, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of it all. You deserve nothing but the best, Grace. We both do. This is just the beginning of the life we're going to build together. His words were intoxicating, and for a moment, I let myself believe in the dream he was weaving. But deep down, a tiny voice whispered, was it too good to be true? Ethan's smile widened as he reached for my hands, his grip warm and firm. Yes, it's all part of the plan. But I need you to trust me, to take this leap with me, he said, his voice full of conviction. Your savings for the wedding, my funds for the honeymoon, and our future home together. We'll make this a reality. I hesitated. The practical part of me screamed caution. I had always been careful with money, making sure Mia and I were secure. But looking into Ethan's eyes, full of love and promise, the hesitation melted away. I nodded, my heart pounding. Okay, Ethan. Let's do it. Let's make this wedding a day to remember. As the weeks flew by, the wedding preparations became all-consuming. Ethan was a man of action, taking care of every detail, ensuring that our day would be nothing short of spectacular. Every vendor, every arrangement, every extravagant touch, he had it all handled. And as I watched him, so full of life and determination, I couldn't help but fall even deeper in love. Ethan, you're amazing. The way you're handling everything. I don't know how to thank you, I told him one evening as we sat together, reviewing the ever-growing guest list and the lavish menu he had planned. He pulled me close, his arms wrapping around me. Grace, seeing you happy is all the thanks I need, he murmured against my hair. This wedding, it's just the beginning. Our life together is going to be even more beautiful. His words wrapped around me like a warm embrace, but amidst all the excitement, there were moments when doubt crept in, whispering questions in the quiet of the night. Was I moving too fast? Was I getting swept away by the romance of it all? But every time those thoughts surfaced, Ethan's assurances were there to chase them away. His words, his promises, they became my anchor, holding me steady in the storm of uncertainty. The wedding preparations had taken over my days, but amidst the whirlwind of cake tastings and flower selections, I knew I needed someone by my side, Mia. My sister. My confidant. Since our parents passed, it had always been us against the world. Her opinion mattered. She mattered. I grabbed my phone and called her, hoping she could sneak away from the cafe she worked at. Hey, Mia. Think you can ditch the aprons and coffee smells for some tulle and satin today? I half-joked, my voice laced with hopeful anticipation. Mia's laughter came through the phone, light, familiar, grounding. For you, sis? I'd trade coffee stains for bridal trains any day. Give me an hour to wrap things up here, and I'm all yours. The bridal shop was a wonderland of white and ivory, with dresses cascading like waterfalls of lace and silk. Rows of shimmering gowns lined the boutique, each one more breathtaking than the last. As I tried on dress after dress, Mia's presence was my anchor in the storm of satin and sequins. And then I found it. Mia's eyes lit up the moment I stepped out of the dressing room. That one, Grace. It's like it was made for you, she whispered, a soft awe in her voice. I turned to the mirror, studying my reflection. The gown hugged every curve just right, the fabric cascading to the floor in soft waves. I felt different. You think? I asked, biting my lip. I don't know. I feel like a real bride. A smile crept onto my lips, and Mia's grin matched mine. But then, for the briefest moment, I caught something in her expression. A shadow. Fleeting but there. Before I could question it, she quickly grabbed a dress off the rack, holding it up with an exaggerated twirl. Mind if I give this one a whirl? Just for kicks, she asked, her voice lighthearted, but something about it didn't quite match her eyes. I laughed, the sound a mix of surprise and delight. Planning on eloping, are you? Or is there a mystery man you've been hiding from me? I teased, watching as Mia twirled in front of the mirror, the shimmering gown catching the light. Mia's laugh, usually so carefree, held a note of something I couldn't quite place. Oh, Grace, you know me. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But a girl can dream, can't she? She quipped, her voice lighthearted, too lighthearted. She smiled, but her gaze darted away, just for a second. Hiding something. The day rolled on, a blend of laughter and whispers of silk, but something about Mia felt off. One moment, she was her usual bubbly self. The next, she grew distant, lost in thought. It was like a switch had flipped, dimming her usual glow. Everything okay, Mia? I asked gently, concern threading through my words. She was quick, too quick, to dismiss it, waving a hand as if to erase my worries. It's nothing really. Just cafe chaos. You know how it gets, she assured me, flashing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I wanted to believe her. Maybe it was just pre-wedding stress, maybe a spat with a troublesome customer. But the nagging feeling in my gut told me it was something more. As we left the bridal shop, a strange weight hung between us, an unspoken tension neither of us could quite navigate. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The excitement of finding the perfect dress should have filled me with joy, but instead, all I could think about was Mia. She had always been an open book to me, and yet now, there were pages I couldn't read, words hidden just out of sight. Was she in trouble? Was she keeping something from me? And why did I feel like, whatever it was, it had something to do with my wedding? As the big day edged closer, that joy I should have been feeling was tinged with a worry I couldn't shake. Mia and I had faced everything together. But now, it felt like there was a growing gap between us, one filled with secrets and unasked questions. Little did I know, the answers to those questions were about to turn my world on its head. It was a day like any other. Or so I thought. The morning sun streamed through the windows as I went about tidying up the apartment. Ethan had left early, rushing off to handle some last-minute wedding details. I was stacking mail on the counter when I noticed his phone, buzzing repeatedly. It wasn't unusual for Ethan to get messages. He was always handling business, always connected. But something about the constant notifications gnawed at me. And then I noticed something else. His phone didn't have a password. That was surprising. A flicker of hesitation ran through me. I wasn't the type to snoop. But as the screen lit up again, displaying yet another message, something inside me shifted. The nagging in my gut, the unease I'd felt with Mia, the way Ethan had pushed for full control over the wedding finances, it all converged in one chilling moment. I reached for the phone, and what I found destroyed me. The messages between Ethan and Mia hit me like a punch to the gut. Each word was a dagger, slicing deeper than the last. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to push me aside. Like I was nothing. Like all the years of sisterhood with Mia meant less than the dirt under their shoes. My hands trembled as I scrolled, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. And then I saw it. Mia's confession. A message from her to Ethan. Can't believe we pulled this off. She's such a fool. falling for every lie. And now, with the baby, we can finally be together, just as we planned. The words blurred as tears clouded my vision. A baby. Mia was pregnant. With Ethan's child. My stomach twisted violently, nausea churning inside me. But there was more. Ethan's reply. She's just a naive cash cow. Can't wait to get rid of her and start our real life together. This wedding will be perfect, thanks to her money. I felt the room tilt. The world around me blurred into a carousel of deceit and treachery. My fiancé, my sister. They had planned this from the start. Every kiss, every whispered promise, every moment that had felt like a fairy tale, it was all a lie. I sat there, the phone heavy in my hand, a storm of emotions raging within me. Betrayal, anger, disbelief. They all fought for dominance, clawing at my sanity. But above all, a cold, unshakable determination took root. They thought they could use me. They thought they could discard me like an old toy. They thought I was weak. They were about to find out just how wrong they were. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Whispers filled the air like an eerie chorus as all eyes snapped to Mia, standing defiantly at the end of the aisle in a white gown. A bridal gown. It was almost laughable. Almost. I turned slowly, my expression one of pure, calculated calm. The look of a woman who expected this. Because I had. Ethan stiffened beside me. His grip on my hand went limp. Mia, he hissed under his breath, his eyes darting between me and her. This wasn't part of the plan, his plan. But it was part of mine. A cruel smile played at the corner of my lips as I let the silence stretch. The weight of the moment pressed down on everyone in that church, the tension so thick it could choke. I looked out into the sea of faces, guests frozen in stunned horror, my friends shifting uncomfortably in their seats, my extended family staring wide-eyed. And then I laughed. A soft, almost amused sound. It was time. "Oh, Mia," I said, my voice dripping with faux sympathy as I stepped forward, my gown whispering against the floor. "You really couldn't wait, could you?" Mia's face twisted with confusion, then irritation. "You don't understand, Grace. Ethan and I understand perfectly," I interrupted smoothly, my voice carrying through the church. "I understand that you and Ethan thought I was a fool, that you planned to humiliate me and walk away with everything. My savings, my home, my trust." A murmur spread through the crowd. Someone audibly gasped. Ethan grabbed my wrist, his grip desperate, his whisper frantic. "Grace, let's talk about this privately." I yanked my hand free. "Privately?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh no, Ethan. You wanted an audience for our big day, didn't you? Let's not deprive them of the real show." I turned back to the crowd, addressing them as if I were giving a toast at a reception. "Did you know," I continued, "that my dear fiancé here has been sleeping with my sister?" The room erupted. Mia flinched. Ethan's face drained of all color. "Not just that," I went on, lifting Ethan's phone, the very device that had exposed them both. "They've been planning this for months, right under my nose. And here's the real kicker. Mia is pregnant with his child." Gasps, hushed whispers, a few scattered exclamations of, "Oh my God." The betrayal hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. I turned to Mia, tilting my head slightly. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" Mia's lips parted, her bravado faltering. "Grace, Save it," I snapped. "I have screenshots of everything. The texts, the calls, the disgusting little plans you two made at my expense. You wanted to steal my wedding? My future?" I let the words hang in the air before I took a deep breath and smiled, a smile full of ice and steel. "Well, congratulations, you can have him." I turned to Ethan, watching him scramble for some sort of control, some pathetic excuse. "Grace, please, you don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly. I understand that you're a liar, a fraud, and that this, our wedding, was never about love. Just money. Just using me." I exhaled, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. "Well, joke's on you, Ethan. Because I moved every single cent out of our wedding fund yesterday. My savings? Untouched. You get nothing. Ethan's mouth opened, then closed. The color drained from his face. Mia's eyes widened in horror. You took the money? She stammered. I smiled. Oh, sweetheart, I didn't just take it. I made sure you two walk away with exactly what you deserve. Nothing. Ethan exploded. You bitch, he shouted, lunging toward me. But before he could get within 2 feet, my best friend, my real maid of honor, stood up from the front row and threw her drink right in his face. Gasps filled the church as Ethan stumbled back, sputtering. Mia turned red with humiliation. Enjoy your life together, I said sweetly. It won't be nearly as glamorous as you thought. And with that, I turned on my heel and walked out of the church, my train flowing behind me like the battle flag of a victorious warrior. The headlines the next morning were priceless. Runaway bride exposes fiancé and sister's affair at wedding. Betrayal at the altar. The scandal that shook high society. By the time I had my morning coffee, Mia and Ethan were the talk of the town. Mia had lost her job at the cafe, Ethan's business deals were in shambles, and my phone was flooded with texts from people applauding me for how I handled it. As for me, I took the honeymoon alone. And it was the best damn vacation of my life. Because some stories don't end in heartbreak. Some end in revenge. And mine? Mine was just beginning. The room pulsed with tension. Ethan and Mia stood at the altar, their smiles forced, their eyes darting toward me every few seconds. They thought they had won, that they had broken me. But I wasn't the one who would be broken today. As the officiant stumbled through the vows, the murmurs in the crowd refused to die down. Guests exchanged bewildered glances, hushed conversations buzzing around me. I crossed my legs, lifted my chin, and gave them my best serene smile. Let them wonder. Let them wait. Let them squirm. Mia's voice trembled slightly as she repeated the vows, but she pushed through, eager to claim her stolen prize. Ethan, still trying to keep up his bravado, spoke his words with the same arrogance he had always carried, like he was untouchable. Then the moment came. If anyone here has any reason why these two should not be joined in matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. Silence.
A beat. 2.
Then I stood up. Every head in the room turned toward me, the weight of my presence crushing. I took a slow, deliberate step forward, the fabric of my dress whispering against the floor. Actually, I said, voice smooth as silk. I do. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Mia stiffened. Ethan's jaw clenched. I turned to face the audience, addressing them with the grace of a queen delivering a royal decree. You see, before these two pledged their eternal love, I said, my tone dripping with mock sweetness, there are a few things everyone should know. I reached into my small clutch and pulled out my phone. Mia's eyes widened. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. Oh, yes, I continued. This isn't just about me. This is about the lies, the manipulation, and oh, let's not forget the theft. I clicked on a video. The screen lit up, casting a glow across the horrified faces of my audience. Then, Ethan's own voice filled the room. She's just a naive cash cow. Can't wait to get rid of her and start our real life together. This wedding will be perfect thanks to her money. The church erupted. Gasps, outraged exclamations, hands clapping over mouths. Mia's face drained of color. Ethan looked ready to bolt. I turned the volume up. Can't believe we pulled this off. She's such a fool, falling for every lie. And now, with the baby, we can finally be together, just as we planned. Mia's own words, projected for everyone to hear. Aunt Margaret, seated in the second row, fainted. Someone's wine glass shattered on the floor. Mia whipped around to Ethan, panic in her eyes. You recorded our conversations? Ethan stared at me in horror. You. Surprised? I asked, feigning innocence. You should know me better than that, Ethan. I always plan ahead. The guests exploded in an uproar. My father's business partners glared daggers at Ethan. My childhood friends whispered furiously to each other. And then, the final blow. I turned back to the officiant. "Reverend," I said sweetly, "I think we're done here." He nodded.
Gravely.
I turned on my heel, letting the veil fall from my head. As I walked down the aisle, away from the disaster they had created, I heard the chaos unfold behind me. Mia crying, Ethan yelling, guests shouting. But me? I walked out of that church with my head held high. Because this wasn't a wedding. This was a reckoning. And I had just won. The scandal hit the tabloids within hours. Betrayed bride destroys cheating groom at the altar. Sister and fiancé's affair exposed in front of hundreds. Karma in a wedding dress. How one woman took down a pair of liars. Ethan lost everything. His business, his credibility, his reputation. His former investors wanted nothing to do with him.
Mia?
She was shunned by nearly everyone. Family, friends, even the customers at the cafe she worked at. Her dream wedding had turned into a nightmare. And me? Well, I spent my honeymoon in Greece. Alone. Sipping cocktails on a balcony, watching the sunset, and knowing that sometimes revenge is the best wedding gift of all. Ethan's world was collapsing around him. His face had lost all color. His legal wife had just exposed him. His affair was public knowledge. His financial ruin laid bare for all to see. And now, as if fate wanted to personally drive the final nail into his coffin, his own parents had turned against him. "You are no son of mine," his father's voice rang through the hall, cold and final. Mia, still clutching her stomach, staggered backward. "Ethan, tell me they're lying," she whispered, desperation thick in her voice. Ethan opened his mouth. No words came out. The guests sat in stunned silence. The once glorious wedding had transformed into the scandal of the year. Humiliation wasn't enough. I wanted justice. 2 months later, we met again, this time in a courtroom instead of a church. I had gathered everything. White heavy checkmark proof of Ethan's fraud and deception. White heavy checkmark evidence of his hidden debts and unpaid child support. White heavy checkmark the financial records showing how he had manipulated me into paying for a lavish wedding meant to serve his own agenda. Mia, the fool who thought she had won, was also there, this time, not as a bride, but as a co-defendant. Ethan sat across from me, his once cocky demeanor replaced with sheer terror. The judge was unforgiving. "Ethan Matthews, you knowingly defrauded your fiancé, concealed your existing marriage, and misappropriated funds for personal gain. Given the evidence, you are held liable for financial damages and will be required to repay every cent." Mia sobbed as the judge turned to her. "As for you, Ms. Matthews, though your involvement was secondary, your active participation in the deception warrants consequences. Consider this a lesson in the price of betrayal." The verdict was clear. Small Blue Diamond Ethan lost everything. His accounts drained to repay me, his reputation in ruins. Small Blue Diamond Mia, abandoned, left with nothing but the baby she had used as leverage. Small Blue Diamond Karma had done her job. Months later, the tabloids were still buzzing with the fallout. Betrayed bride wins landmark case against cheating fiancé. Ethan Matthews, from high society to absolute rock bottom. Ethan disappeared from social circles, reduced to a cautionary tale whispered at dinner parties.
Mia?
She tried begging for sympathy, but the world had no pity left for someone who had built her future on lies. And me? I took the honeymoon I had paid for alone. Sipping champagne on a private yacht, the Mediterranean breeze in my hair, I watched the sun dip below the horizon. I smiled, because this was the true beginning of my happily ever after. As I stepped out of the courthouse, the crisp air filled my lungs, each breath feeling lighter than the last. The gavel had fallen, the verdict was mine, and justice had finally been served. Ethan was ruined. Mia was alone. And I was free. Ethan's misery didn't stop at my courtroom victory. Catherine, his legal wife, was just getting started. Fueled by betrayal and years of neglect, she launched her own brutal lawsuit, demanding compensation for infidelity, abandonment, and unpaid child support. His debt spiraled. His once charming reputation? Destroyed. No more wealth. No more status. No more lies to hide behind. Rumors spread that he had skipped town, leaving behind nothing but a trail of lawsuits and burned bridges. Then there was Mia. Pregnant. Alone. Terrified. The same woman who had laughed at my blind trust, who had planned to steal my life, now stood before me with tear-streaked cheeks and trembling hands. Grace, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I looked at her, the sister I had once adored, the person I would have done anything for. But love is not blind anymore. I took a deep breath, steeled my heart. Mia, you were my family, my blood, but you made your choices, and now you have to live with them. Her lip quivered, her hands clutching her stomach, as if that could hold her world together. But it was already in pieces. I turned away, and this time I didn't look back. Life moved on. The scars remained, but so did my strength. I focused on rebuilding not just my finances but my soul. I traveled. I laughed. I surrounded myself with people who truly cared. And most importantly, I learned to love and trust again. Because in the end, their betrayal didn't define me. My survival did. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribe for more.